goes at Bombshell TV. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make our signature ultimate margarita here at the Boom Boom Room.
It's always fun to learn to make a drink. You bet. So let me introduce you to Bartender Greg.
All right, so ultimate margarita. All right, obviously you're going to have your premium, your top shelf liquor, because you don't want to be ripping no one off, of course. What we prefer to use here is we go with that signature Don Julio. All right, we're going to go a little bit of that in our glass. After that, we're going to hit it with some Grand Marnier. Grand Marnier orange liqueur, great with everything. Put it in a snifter, have the most amazing drink of your night. Follow that up with some triple sec. Here, we go through a lot of this, so we just use a simple De Kuyper triple sec. Got to have a lot on hand. Try something different at home. Might be better, might be, might.
Are we on? Papa Pasty up there in the spaceship, he said, now it's not the first time they've held a microphone or other things in life, but he said, look, when you go up there, just make sure the green light is on, okay? Make sure the green light is on. It's on. We're here. Are you guys here? I know that we're living in a world where there's a lot going on. We got aliens, AI, impeding wars on our homeland and foreign. No, we don't focus on war. We're past that, aren't we? Aren't we ready to just laugh? Can we do a really quick, and I'm sorry, Jim, I know you said, hurry up, we're behind the show. He's a really, really tough guy to work for. That's punny. We decided to call this Ha-Ha Night because it's sort of straight to the point, When you heard about this event, did you sort of have any idea of what you might be able to anticipate? Thank God. Thank God, because we just have to keep it simple sometimes. Shout out to my friends from Hot Pizza Cold Beer. And shout out to Maria and her table, who I heard when they walked in the door that they dined at Hot Pizza Cold Beer. And I'd be lying if I said that part of the inspiration behind just keeping it simple and calling it Ha-Ha Night, number one, was in inspiration with what success our neighboring downtown business is having with just getting straight to the point. You're going to come here, you're going to have pizza, it's going to be hot, you're going to have beer, it's going to be cold, you're going to visit downtown and not die, just like all of you guys. I just want to make sure if anyone was actually anticipating coming downtown and not leaving and going home, wherever that is, we don't want anything to do with it, right? Okay, the Boom Boom Room is a client of mine, and we want to make sure that we're all safe and protected. Is there anyone that's drinking here that's underage? Is there anyone here that's underage? Do we know what the drinking age is in this country? Because I'm pretty sure it's still 21, and yet we have men and women that are going overseas at 18. But I better shut up. Are we good? Are we good with the vocals here, Jim? Are you guys here to see Merritt Khan? This queen traveled all the way here from Colorado. All the way here from Colorado. And you want to know what I learned maybe 10 minutes ago? Are you ready? Are we alive? I'm warming you guys up. Are we alive? We need to do a pulse check. Aliens, AI, humans? Okay. I learned that it's Merritt's first time in St. Louis. It's her first time. I mean, she wasn't born yesterday and she's not 10 or 20. It's her first time in St. Louis. And she was the queen, and a queen she is, who agreed to get our hot pizza, cold beer, to get our ha-ha nights up and going and make sure that we have some laughter. Because if you haven't Googled ha-ha lately or some of the other words, it's pretty simple, and you said it, didn't you? Laughter. And so that's what we hope to accomplish here this evening from the bottom of my heart and our entire team here. Shout out to the team. Hey, Zeus, we love you. Sarah, we love you. Gabby, we love you. Laura surprised us and helped out. And then, of course, Jim, Papa Pasty up there. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means the world. And without further ado, we are going to welcome to the stage, she needs no introduction, Merritt Khan.
My job is to lift you up. And if you're already up, then my job is to bring you down so that I can get paid to lift you And it's interesting, being a motivational speaker. Sometimes even I have to admit, like I'm paid to tell people to dream the impossible dream. But sometimes even someone with optimistic personality disorder, I just have to trade in that impossible dream for the potentially probable backup plan. I have a friend, classic pessimist, right? She called me once and she's like, Merit, I used to think I couldn't do anything right. And then I read The Power of Positive Thinking. And now I know I can't do anything right. Yeah. So I am optimistic that you're going to have a great evening. I'm optimistic that you'll enjoy this journey I've created for you through my 50 years of life. The highs and lows, the laughter, the lessons, and maybe we have a few things in common. And maybe we don't. But we're going to do a full stage now. There we go. See, it's magic, theater magic. Maybe we have some things in common, maybe we don't. But I do know that you're going to enjoy tonight. And I just want you to imagine, if you will, that it's my 50th birthday. Man, 50 years, that went by fast. And it wasn't that long ago, 54. I get real nostalgic around my birthday. Do you guys get nostalgic, reflective? I've spent a good number of years just packing up my stories and my memories in a box, as if I could just put it on a shelf, and just leave it alone. But those memories are still in there. Sometimes I wonder, have you ever really thought about your own life story? Do you ever wish you could rewrite some of the pages of your life story? I wonder sometimes if you really could rewrite your past, would that rewire your future? Let's check it out together, shall we? Let's dust off some of these boxes and see what happens when we push rewind on the story of my life and retell it through the lens of comedy. So, yeah, I've divided my 50 years into 5 decades. We'll start with the 70s. Cue the 70s flashback music.
Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking and we're staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out. Freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out. Freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out.
Got a big mirror back here.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for your men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
The first decade was the 70s. We'll call this decade number 1, also known as adorable years. You know what you're thinking. Some decades you never grow out of. Yep, still adorable. Oh, man. Oh, my bunny slippers. Hey, you guys. Oh, they're so cute. I love these things. Oh, my blankie. I honestly don't remember having a care in the world with my security blankie around. I used to carry this behind me everywhere I went for probably a lot longer than was socially acceptable. My parents named me Merritt Stacy Cotton. Their philosophy was grows into the meaning of their name, merit. M-E-R-I-T. It means worthy of praise. How did they know? I was my parents' favorite child. Okay, I was their only child. They used to say, "You're so adorable." And I thought, yeah, you're jaded. All parents think their kids are adorable. But there must have been something to that because the Gerber baby people thought I was adorable too. And after much negotiation, they were willing to meet my demands. New pacifier every day, warm formula on set, and absolutely no topless photos. I was a badass baby negotiator. And thus began my Gerber baby modeling career. My parents kept this scrapbook. There were pictures of me in this red and white dress. It had a little matching purse. And all over the dress it said, "I am a good girl. I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl." There were a lot of pictures of me in that dress. It's as if my parents were willing me to be that at some point in the future. Fortunately, I grew out of that dress. And now I have a pair of red and white panties that say, "I'm a naughty girl, I'm a naughty girl, I'm a naughty girl." I think I was changing into them. Not for $35 a ticket, people. Oh, what else we have in here? One of the most special people in my life is my grandma. Grandma Eva. This isn't her original apron, but she used to wear one just like it. Oh, and for those of you who are under 30, an apron is what people used to wear when they made dinner in the kitchen. You know, not on a cell phone. I called her Little Grandma because she's so tall, very tall, 4'9". My other grandma got wind of this and said, "You don't even think about calling me Big Grandma." Little Grandma had beautiful auburn hair, kind eyes, warm smile, and the deepest dimples you have ever seen. You guys can see my dimples, right? You see these in the back? Yeah, these are nothing compared to my grandma's dimples. You could shout, "I love you," into one of my grandma's dimples, and an echo would come out the other side. "I love you too. She knew how to use them. She was an Avon lady. Do you remember Avon Perfume Cosmetics? Yeah. When I was a kid, before every Avon party, my little grandma used to say, "Okay, sweetie, dimples on. It's showtime." And I just watched her work the room. She never pressured anyone to buy, but everyone left with a smile on their face and a bag full of Avon. Never underestimate the power of the dimples. You know, looking back, I realized my grandma was my very first sales coach. She's the one who taught me that sales is just about building relationships, solving problems, helping people feel good. I lost my little grandma when I was just 7. I don't remember much about that time, but I do remember feeling like everything in my whole world just changed. Think about this. She was only in my life for the first 7 years, and here we are, more than 40 years later, and I still think about her every day. And I hope I'm the type of woman who leaves that kind of lasting impression. Love you, little grandma. I know it was because of my little grandma that I decided to start my first business at 9 years old, selling greeting cards, door to door. And I knew I needed the right name for my business, but first I needed the right name for me. You know, at this point in my life, I was getting pretty sick of being teased about my name. Merritt Parrott. Merritt Parrott. cigarettes. I just about had enough of it. I just wanted to be like everyone else. Jennifer, Lisa, Nancy. So I just announced to the world one day I was no longer answering to the name Merritt. I would now like to be addressed as Stacy. And then I decided to name my company, not Hallmark, because that was already taken. But, oh. Hi, I'm with Stacy Mark. Homemade greeting cards when you really, really, really care enough to send the very best. And you look like somebody who has a lot of friends, who really cares about quality. How many would you like? Oh, a lot. Yeah, that's good. And I don't want to brag, but I was pretty good in sales. Thank you, little grandma. I was the best in my whole company. I was the only one in my company, but I just crushed my very first sales quota and I never looked back. Until, at 10 years old, I contracted a rare liver disease. Yeah. Autoimmune chronic hepatitis. It's about 1 in 100,000 people. So, not quite 1 in a million, but I am on my way. But for about 6 weeks, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. They thought I was contagious. I had to drop out of school. And then they told my friends and family that to be around me, they needed an immunization shot in their butt just to be around me. So being my friend at 10 years old was literally a pain in the ass. Learned a lot from that experience, you know, like how important it is to send thank you cards to people, especially if they're willing to take a shot in the ass for you. Fortunately, I happen to own my own greeting card company. Coincidence? I think not. Which brings us to decade number 2, my tweens and teenage years. Now, those of you who have teenagers will recognize this as the time of life when I knew everything there was to know. And what a time to be a teenager. The 1980s. Hit it, DJ. Imagine the 1980s music happening now.
She just a girl, perfect. I am the one, but the kid is not my son. She says I am the one, but the kid is not my son.
Well, jump, jump. Might as well jump. Go ahead, jump, jump. Go ahead and jump. How you? Who said that? Baby, how you been? You say it's deep. I am the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger.
Now, I was officially known as Stacy Con, and this decade is called the Performer Years. The Performer Years began my love of theater. My friends and I used to do these sleepover shows. We had costumes and a portable mic. I mean, I don't want to brag, but we basically invented karaoke. At this point, we had moved to New York, and living 30 minutes outside of Manhattan meant I saw a lot of Broadway shows growing up. Not only did I get my dimples from my little grandma, but I got her height too. And so despite my protest, my father used to bring this little pillow with us to the theater for me to sit on. And then throughout the entire first act, he would lean over and go, "Can you see? Are you sure you can see? Can you see? You guys, it was so annoying. But to this day, I still bring a little pillow with me to the theater because I cannot see over your heads. Which is probably why I like being on stage and why I eventually started doing stand-up. Standing up is a good look for me. I still remember my favorite Broadway show. It opened in 1978, and I knew someday I was going to play that part, albeit off Broadway, in my elementary school. So when it was time for the principal to announce the school musical, you better believe I was pumped and ready for my close-up. Except you won't believe this. They canceled the school musical that year. I know. I cried all the way home. I said, Daddy, they won't let us do a school musical this year. What am I to do? And my dad looked at me, and he said something I would never forget. Something that would change my life. Something I would hear throughout my life. Anytime I told my father something wasn't possible. He said, they won't let you. Who chiseled that over the door? Which I'm guessing was my dad's version of who carved that in stone? Well, the school board was about to get a lesson from a sixth grader they would never forget. I didn't know I was too young to produce a musical, so I called all my friends. Emergency meeting at recess, under the monkey bars. I'll bring the juice boxes, and I'll be the one in the wig. And just like that, I charmed all my friends into doing Annie, with or without the school's permission. I was the producer, the director, the brilliant casting agent, naturally giving myself the leading role. And then I sweet-talked the art teacher into painting the sets during his class. I talked the music teacher into teaching the songs during her class. And then, dimples on, it's showtime. I talked to the Westchester County Board of Education. They said yes, and we got to use the auditorium for our performances. Casting the show was a breeze. All my friends who got a shot in the ass got a part in the show. And our show was a huge hit, you guys. It was my very first standing ovation. They were still going. That's okay. And you know what the best part about all of this was? Throughout this whole thing, nobody told me I couldn't do it. So I just did it. It's a good life lesson from the 6th grade. Well then, when I heard they were auditioning for a new Annie on Broadway, I just knew it was my time. I begged my parents, please, please take me down to Manhattan. Let me wait in line for hours with every little girl on the planet. And they did. Finally, it was my turn. I took center stage. Actually, that wasn't invented yet. The sun will come out, and then from all the way in the back of the dark theater, all I heard was, next! I was undeterred. Tomorrow, tomorrow, next! No, you don't understand. I was Annie in my 6th grade musical. My mommy just said I rocked it, so next! It was like the guy had one word that he said all day long. I was devastated. I guess there's a difference between casting yourself as the lead in the school musical and auditioning for Broadway. Who knew? Broadway Broadway wasn't ready for me yet. Well, I went on to high school. I was in all the school shows. My favorite was Grease. We have any theater kids in the room? Just me? I played Jan, one of the pink ladies. Yeah, and this is the original jacket. I had the first line in the first scene. It was the cafeteria scene. Act 1, scene 1. I was supposed to put my tray down on the table, sit down on my chair, and we would all break into song. You know, just like real life. Except what happened was I put my tray down on the table, I sat down on my chair, and BAM! It broke into pieces, leaving me on my ass on stage in front of a standing room only audience packed with everyone I knew at the most judgmental time of my young life. Just like real life. I could have frozen in that moment. Instead, I just blurted out, "Man, this school is cheap." Everyone cracked up. At the end of the show, the director asked me to do it again the next night. And that is when I knew I would always be able to rely on my quick wit to turn a bad situation around when things went awry. And boy, did things go awry in this decade. My parents got divorced. I learned my dad was gay, which I'm guessing had something to do with the divorce. But maybe they just wanted different things out of life. Maybe the same thing. I'll never forget the day my dad came out to me. It was a typical Saturday night. We were just getting back from a chorus line on Broadway. Yeah, so you can imagine how shocked I was. I mean, we were just dancing and singing back to the parking lot. I would go, "One singular sensation, every little step she takes, ba-na-na-na-na." And Dad would go, "One thrilling combination, every move that she makes." And then we would both go, "Ba-na-na-na-na." I mean, it was shocking. But, you know, my dad tried to do traditional father things with me, like camping, you know. The only thing I learned from my dad about the great outdoors is the importance of color coordinating my camping gear. And he used to give me dating advice, like, "Merritt, you should always wait for the man to open the door." Is that what you do, Dad? Does that work? He always says to me, "Honey, you can be anything you want to be, as long as it's fabulous." My dad, he just wanted my life to be as normal as possible. You know, it really wouldn't be normal to have a gay dad for at least like 30 years. He thought it would be good for me to make friends with other kids who had gay fathers, which is not usually what I looked for in a friend. I mean, what did he expect me to do? Take an ad out in the school paper? Does your dad enjoy musical theater? Does he have an unusual sense of style? Does he sing along with Cher? As much as all of that should have fazed me, I was, as all teenagers are, the center of the universe. And my high school version of things going awry was the day they moved my locker away from Drew Angotti. Let me just paint this picture for you. Drew Angotti, quarterback, the cutest boy in school. That was a dark, sad day, you guys. Just, my life was ruined. I mean, I was just a cheerleader, but I was ready to tackle Drew Angotti, you know what I'm saying? Anything for the team. Oh, and original jacket. I guess we're applauding now for my dad, who is the hoarder of the family. Kept all of my stuff. My high school was 50% white and 50% black. And you would think that that could have been a problem, right? But it was just normal to us. You know, we just called it salt and pepper. So on the bus rides to the away football games, the black players would do this rap to help pump up the team. And if we lost, which we rarely did because the cheerleading was so good. Andrew and Gotti, but whatever. Well, then I took it upon myself to lift everyone's spirits. You guys, I wrote this little white girl rap. It was really cute. I'm not going to bore you with this tonight. I mean, we'll just keep going with the story. You want to hear it anyway. It's just... What? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is so unexpected. Let's see if I have anything to get me into character. Oh, okay, all right. All right, DJ! Stacey K is in the house. Performer at this point. I was 17 years old, and after 7 musicals, an undisclosed number of football players, and one epic party while my dad was in town, it was time for a bigger stage. That's right, a Big Ten size stage. I was going Michigan State University. Yeah. Any Spartans in the house? Nope, just me. I wanted to go to this Big Ten school. I remember just thinking, wow, this place is massive. And I wanted to go to this big school because I figured 42,000 students. There's got to be at least a couple of Drew and Gottis in there. I pledged Zeta Tau Alpha sorority, and they named me pledge class president, you know, because... The roommate that was assigned to me was Scarlett McGee. Scarlett McGee. Good Southern Irish girl. You know, Scarlett McGee, she was like, I shall never miss happy hour again. Scarlett McGee was a sophomore, couldn't find a single person who wanted to be her roommate. I had heard about panty raids in the movies, so I asked her about raids on campus. She thought I said rapes on campus, and she looked concerned that I looked disappointed when she said there weren't any. That was an awkward silence. Let's just say, Scarlett McGee was not for me. I'd found this empty room down the hall and a friend who also didn't like her roommate, and even though people told us, you can't just move into the new room, I thought, really? Who chiseled that over the door? And we moved in. And that is pretty much how life went. Oh, that's not how it works? We'll see about that. Well, that's not possible? Watch me. I was just making things happen everywhere I turned. except maybe Broadway. For now. Which brings us to decade number 3. Oh, decade number 3 already.
Let your body move to the music. Hey, 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 come on, go. Let your body go with the flow. You know you do it. All you need is your own.
That anything was possible, this decade was all about testing that theory. I call this decade the adventure years. I had such a good time in college. But then senior year, I went on this overseas study program to Australia. It was my first time on my own in a foreign country, and I felt so empowered. My parents were so freaked out, but also so far away. Do you remember when your parents used to say to you, if all your friends were jumping off a bridge, would you? You know, you never actually think you're going to be in that situation. But there I was. All my friends were bungee jumping off this bridge. So, I jumped. And it was a blast. Ugh. After graduating from college, packed my bags, and changed my name again. At this point, I was getting pretty sick of being teased about my name. Stacy, Gracie, Stacy. I just didn't want to be like everyone else. Jennifer, Lisa, Nancy, Stacy. So I announced to the world one day I was no longer answering to the name Stacy. I would now like to identify as Merit. So bags packed, diploma in hand. Dad and I set off to Chicago, where I was going to start my life as a grown-up. And we stopped for brunch along the way, obviously. The hostess asked, 2 for brunch? 1 adult, 1 child? Apparently, she thought I was 12. Yeah, I'm a 12-year-old, you know, with a college diploma, lady. Now, bring me a booster seat. Pour me a beer. Not to the point where I was posing for pictures with a beer in my hand just to prove I was old enough to drink. Now that I'm older and want to look younger, I think I might pose with a juice box. Oh, my first job out of college was selling radio advertising for this small suburban station. After about 6 months, I figured I was ready for this big downtown Chicago radio station. The guy interviewing me said, I'm sorry, miss, you only have 6 months of experience. You're going to need 9 months of experience to get this job. And in my head, I thought, really? Who chiseled that over the door? So I said, well, if you can tell me what I will learn in the next 3 months that I don't already know, I'll go back and learn it. And he said, congratulations, you're hired. I got the job and the last laugh. And speaking of advertising, I once dated this guy who called and had to break our date because he had to fly to California to shoot this McDonald's commercial. And I'm like, seriously, dude? If I had $1 for every time a guy broke a date with me with that cheesy line, I'd have $1. Turns out, Steve Carell was telling the truth. Yes, that's Steve Carell. Yep, I dated Steve Carell. Yes, he is funny in real life. Yes, he did have to shoot a McDonald's commercial. But he's never done a one-woman show. You know, a couple of movies, a little TV show maybe. Someday I picture him on this TV show saying, yes, I did date Merritt. Yes, she is funny in real life. Yes, I do regret ditching her for that McDonald's commercial. And yeah, I would take a shot in the ass for her. I was fantasizing about life as Mrs. Carell when I had one of those epiphanies. It was about 11 p.m. on a Friday night. I was working late in the office, and I asked my colleague, do we work so hard because we don't have a life? Or do we not have a life because we're working so hard? Have you ever had one of those kind of nights? Well, by 1 a.m. and after a couple of tequila shots from that emergency bottle in her desk, we both decided that in 1 year we would quit our jobs and travel together around the world. The more I planned this trip, the more excited that I got. And I just turned my dimples on high. I sold more advertising than I ever had. And then 4 weeks before the day we were going to quit our jobs, she decided not to go. And I thought, well, there goes that idea. I mean, I just can't travel around the world by myself. Wait a minute. So, 1 year from the day of my epiphany, I boarded a plane alone for my 1 year round the world backpacking adventure. And this is the original backpack. I'm gonna get a little nervous if my props start getting a little bit more applause than I do, just saying. Oh, I visited Fiji, New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Hong Kong, China, Mongolia, Russia, England, Scotland, France, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, and the Czech Republic. When I was in Sydney, I met these two guys from Australia. Sorry, they were from California. We were in Australia. And we traveled together around for a few days. And then they went around the world this way, and I went around the world that way. 8 months and 14 countries later, I am on the Charles Bridge in Prague, and I hear, Merritt, Merritt! I look over, and there they are. Guys, the two guys from California. And they remembered me more than 6 times longer than they ever even knew me. Turns out, it is a small world, after all. So after about a year of traveling, it was time to get a real job back in the real world. So I did what anybody would do in that situation. I went to Disney World. Yeah. I wanted to be Minnie Mouse. Couldn't you guys just see that? The guy interviewing me said, I'm sorry, you're too small to play a mouse. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, even with the ears? I mean, come on. Who chiseled that over the door, am I right? Apparently, in this case, Walt thought it would be important for the characters to be taller than the children. Whatever, Walt. You know, as if that wasn't humiliating enough, I barely made the cutoff to ride the roller coaster. Yeah. I had to show the operator a picture of me with a beer in my hand. And my ID, so yeah. I got carded at Space Mountain, Disney World. And that is when the roller coaster ride really began. Which brings us to decade 4. Where's decade 4? Here we go. Decade 4, my 30s. The 2000s.
Capture this moment and hope it don't you better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot, do not miss miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a
Again. Only this time it was my last name. And this decade I call the roller coaster years. Do you guys remember New Year's Eve, 1999, when we all thought the world was going to come to an end? Well, I did what any of us would do in that situation. I went to a black tie party at the base of the pyramids in Egypt. Doesn't everybody? And I looked stunning, considering the cast on my foot I had broken the night before. And that pretty much set the tone for this decade. A black tie party and a broken foot. What a roller coaster ride. Oh, this decade. I got married. Original veil. Wow, okay. Oh. I had a baby. My husband had a mental breakdown. I went paragliding. I crashed. I tested positive for a genetic defect. And the ride got worse after that. You know, they say a girl marries a guy just like her dad. Trouble is, all the guys I meet just like my dad are also looking for a guy just like my dad. Maybe that's what I was doing wrong. I wanted everything about a gay guy except maybe the gay part. My dad, I married the guy complete opposite of my dad. My dad is the kind of guy who is always thinking about others. My husband was the kind of guy who was always thinking about himself. My dad's the kind of guy who would stop and open the door for you. My husband was the kind of guy who would stop and admire his reflection in the glass door. My husband's therapist called me classic narcissist. Yeah. Came home from that appointment, he goes, babe, she said I'm a classic. That's the word you picked out of that sentence? Yeah, he had narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. I have optimistic personality disorder, OPD. NPD, OPD. We had a mixed marriage. That one makes me laugh. Oh man. He used to like to push my buttons. Well, actually, I used to watch those shows on TV. You remember those shows where one spouse murders the other? I was riveted. And by year 7, I considered that educational television. I had to stop. He always used to like to make me jealous, push my buttons, you know? So one time we're driving down the highway in Chicago and he goes, oh look, there's the exit I would take to go to my old girlfriend's house. Okay. A couple miles down the road, I saw a billboard advertising the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin. And I said, oh, look, there's a billboard of my old boyfriend. Newsflash, he's not 40. And trust me, he's no virgin. We had the stupidest arguments, my husband and I. We argued one time about which one of us would be the first one to get into a new relationship if we split. And he goes, me. And I said, really? How do you figure? And he goes, look at me. I got a perfect body. I got money. I'm a ton of fun. I said, well, sweetheart, I may not have a perfect body, but it rides well. And I'll have your money. And I think that will make me a whole lot more fun. Oh God, I wish I had kept the anniversary cards that I had given him over the years. You know, it really showed the evolution of our entire relationship. In the beginning, the card said, "Married my best friend." And when our son was born, the card said, "You are the rock of our family." And that last year of marriage, the card said, "Tough year." We still doing this? Fortunately, I had a greeting card company to get the sentiment just right. But there was one good thing that came out of this decade. My son Jake. I love being a mom. He was 4 years old by the time we decided to take our first vacation alone. And I was having a great time until my paragliding crashed. It was a tandem ride. We had gotten to about 1,000 feet, and the pilot said, "Uh-oh," in perfect English. And I'm like, "What?" And that's all I remember before he crashed us into the trees. Yeah. The pilot's name, by the way, was Yurko, spelled Jerko. So apparently, his name too. Oh. I came home from that trip. I had 2 broken legs, bandages covered head to toe, and my sweet little boy looked me over and he goes, "Mommy, how come you broke your legs, but you didn't break your nails?" When he was 5, I was in the kitchen. I was opening up this bottle of the childproof bottle of vitamins. And he was in that phase, you know, "I can do it myself." So I said, "Jake, they make these bottles special so that only grown-ups can open them." He's trying, he can't figure it out. Finally he goes, "How does it know I'm a kid?" The next day, I come downstairs. He's already sitting at the kitchen counter. He's got his little chin in his hands. He's staring at the bottle, and he is chanting, "I'm a grown-up, I'm a grown-up, I'm a grown-up." When he was in 3rd grade, the teacher gave them this assignment to fill out all about their favorite things. Favorite color, blue. Favorite sport, football. Favorite musical group, my grandpa's group, the Denver Gay Men's Choir. Would have loved to have graded that paper. When he was 10, I go into his room to get his laundry. He's sitting in the corner. He's got a blanket over his lap. He's got his hands under the blanket. I go, "Jake, what are you doing?" He goes, "I'm playing with myself." So I dropped the laundry, and I left. And the next day I knocked. And there he is, sitting in the corner with a blanket over his lap and his hands under the blanket. But before I could say anything, he moves the blanket, and I covered my eyes, but it was too late. I saw his... "Is that your Game Boy?" "Oh! You are playing a game with yourself!" Yay! I do miss those days. When he was in high school, I was spying on him, as all good parents do, on his tablet, you know. And he was following this model on Instagram. And in one picture, she is leaning over this banister, her bare ass literally glowing, okay? There is a halo effect around her perfectly round ass. And I said, "Jake, honey, we have to talk about Photoshop. I just don't want you spending the rest of your life looking for an ass halo. As much as you want to believe in them, they simply don't exist. They're like remember in decade 1, when I told you I lost my little grandma when I was just 7? She died of ovarian cancer. She was just 56. So I did genetic testing. I wanted to make sure the only thing handed down from little grandma were the dimples. Unfortunately, I got the dimples and a predisposition for breast and ovarian cancer. What that means is that there is an 87% chance I would get breast cancer and a 57% chance I would get ovarian cancer. I remember calling my dad. Dad, doctors say I'm going to get cancer. And my dad said, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. But who chiseled that over the door?" So, I did preventative surgeries. I got rid of all the body parts that were trying to kill me. Thank you. I figured I could live with a few less parts. I just didn't want to miss out on living. Thank you. And I know I made the right decision for me, but not everybody agreed with my choice. It's true. You know, some people thought I was being too radical until I asked them this question. If you were boarding a plane and the flight attendant said, "Thank you for flying with us today. Please locate the exits nearest your seat. Fasten your seatbelts low and tight across your lap. And by the way, there's an 87% chance we're going to crash." Would you stay on the plane? No. And that usually shut them up. And then I just decided to do what I do, right? I found the funny to turn a bad situation around since things went awry. Decided to look at my total hysterectomy. Well, that was just guaranteed birth control. And my double mastectomy, preventative, well, that was just a boob job covered by insurance. You guys aren't going to believe this. Do you know that insurance doesn't cover nipples? Yeah. Yeah. They don't. Do you know they want $10,000 for a set of nipples? $5,000 a nipple? Crazy. So, I will never win a wet t-shirt contest. And you will never know if I am cold. But I can live with that. But here's what I didn't know. I didn't really think about how those surgeries, the impact of those surgeries on my dating life at some point in the future. Seriously, at what point do you tell your new partner, you don't have any nipples? Is it the first time you have sex? Is it on the first date? Which, for me, is the same thing, really. But eventually I figured it out, you know, like, I would say to a guy, like, I would stop him and go, "I should probably tell you something. I've had some surgery. In this day and age, I should probably be more specific." So I'm making out with this one guy, and I go, "I should tell you something," and he goes, "Oh, I already know." And I'm like, "What do you know?" And he goes, "Is that the Mentor Memory Gel silicone implant? Who is your surgeon?" And I'm like, "What?" Yeah, he was a breast implant sales rep. Where the hell was that guy when I was shopping for nipples? I had to stop dating him. He kept trying to sell me the latest upgrade. It was crazy. But eventually I got very very comfortable. And now, if the Gerber baby people call and they wanted those topless photos, yeah, I'd probably do them. I like to show them off. The only reason we have censorship laws is because of nipples, but I don't have any. I could just show you. Not for $35 a ticket, people. Which brings us to decade 5. How are we at decade 5 already? Decade 5. Yeah. Decade 5. Hey, Alexa, can you play the hits from the 2010s?
We could have had it all in the deep. You have my heart inside, and you played it to the beat. Baby, I have no story to leave me. Just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch.
The early part of this decade, but the last few years, the ride got real fun. If you're keeping score, I changed my name again. Decade 1, Merit-Con. 2, Stacy-Con. 3, Merit-Con. 4, Merit married name, we no longer speak out loud. And decade 5, back to Merit-Con. I call this decade the Freedom Years. Yeah, thank you. After 14 years of, oops, it's a shame when you get caught up in your panties. After 14 years of marriage, I took a stand-up comedy class. I needed someone to talk to me. I needed someone to talk to, I should say. My first joke was this. My husband is great, and he thinks so too. 6 months after starting stand-up comedy, my comedy coach told me my marriage wasn't going to make it. I don't know what she was talking about. Actually, that was 2 years into stand-up comedy. And I think that maybe it was because all of my jokes ended with the punchline, I married an asshole. So 6 months after that is when I found out that I had another life-threatening disease. And this time it was stage 4. The tumor had grown to 5'8", 145 pounds, and I knew if I didn't remove it soon, it would slowly kill me. You know when you tell your friends you're getting a divorce and they say, have you tried therapy? And I just look at them and I go, therapy? That's genius. Should have talked to you first. Yeah, we tried therapy. I even tried HRT, hormone replacement therapy. My doctor said maybe you should wait on filing for divorce. Maybe the hormones will make you feel better. I said, look, doc, I don't know what you think you got in that cream, but I am pretty sure rubbing it on my thighs is not going to make my husband less of a dick. It turns out I did need HRT. Husband replacement therapy. Yeah, so, do you know I was in therapy for 5 years with my ex? It only took my comedy coach 2 years to tell me I had a bad marriage. So I fired the therapist, and now I do stand-up. I just keep reminding myself, what doesn't kill me will make for good comedy eventually. And in 2017, my divorce was final. You know, it's a tough transition, going from being married to being divorced. I read a lot of books. I did. I read a lot of books, like What to Expect When You Expect to Be Single. And the best book was How to Divorce a Narcissist. I feel bad though because there's no books for him. You know, like, how to divorce the best thing that ever happened to you. It's not her, it's you. No books. I'll tell you the book that I really needed was How to Date Again After Divorce. It had been a long time, right? It had been 20 years since I went on a date. And, you know, back in the old days when I was dating, you just met a guy, you know, like at a bar, at a ball game, at Blockbuster. But nowadays, everything's online. I think it's too complicated. I personally think it should be more like Build-A-Bear. I want brown hair, big red heart, and a nice fat 401k. I tricked you, didn't I? Don't forget, I'm a good girl, I'm a good girl, I'm a good girl. You know, I'm good at sales too, very good in sales. And guys, you know, dating is just like selling. But let me tell you, guys are making such rookie mistakes on their dating profiles, you know? They're like, look, I'm outdoorsy. I like sports and beer. Gentlemen, no woman is looking for a guy who likes sports and beer. Those are the parts we put up with. You want to get laid? Where are the pictures of you writing poetry? Or buying jewelry? Or loading the dishes in the dishwasher properly? Now you've got my attention. I do like dating the younger guys though. I just feel like they're more honest on their dating profiles, you know. They're not using pictures from 5 years ago. I don't want to see you in your Little League uniform. This one guy was so young. Let's put it this way. When I started having sex, he was in preschool. Yeah. That's like going to the playground, sitting on the bench, the mom next to you asks, which one is yours? I just look around. I'm not sure yet. I'll get back to you in 18 years. The young guys are great. So much energy, but they don't always know what they're doing. I mean, as a woman of a certain age, I know exactly what turns me on. And sometimes, in the bedroom, I feel a little like that guy at the car wash. Move it forward. A little to the left. Yeah. Nothing? Okay. Neutral. Not to knock the car wash. Sometimes that is the only place you can go alone with a date, you know. And as a single mom with full custody, I had to get creative. But I figured it out. On dating profiles, the code word is entrepreneur. That's French for we can have sex during school hours. So this one time I had this date with this entrepreneur, and naturally that was the day my son woke up and he's like, Mommy, I don't feel good. And I'm like, you're fine. Here's your lunchbox, take a cough drop, pack your iron lung, you are going to school. Mommy needs some quality time. This other time he called while he was out with a friend to ask if he could sleep over. And now normally I'm a good mom, right? Like, you know, I would say, you know, are the parents home? Do I have the mom's number? Who's the friend, right? But it was Saturday night, and I wanted to have sex with my boyfriend. So I said, yes, you can sleep over. Can I bring you anything? Alcohol? Drugs? Teenage girls? How can I help? Because I was a good mom. And I was having a very good time, as most divorced people do. By the way, by applause, we're the married people in the house tonight. All right, single crowd. Where are my single people? All right, who's been married the longest? Here, how many years you got? 25. Who said that? All right, 20. But he's not here. No. Oh, that's how you keep it together. That's right. All right, well done. 25. Everybody beat 25? 31. 31. Woo. All right. You know, I used to celebrate people who were married a really long time, and now I just think you guys are slow learners. Oh, yeah. met a guy I call the chef. And the theme of our first date was, let's do absolutely everything you should never do on a first date. And he loved that idea. So I invited my mom. It was perfect, actually, the dating a chef, right? Because I just loved the freedom of not having to cook. I mean, let's just say the kitchen is not where I do my best work. Although I do look pretty sexy wearing only an apron. It really shows off my ass halo. But 3 months after breaking up with the chef, the pandemic hit. Thrown a bit of a wrench in the freedom years, you know, but I did what I do. I wrote some jokes because the entire world went awry. You know, while the rest of you were out hoarding toilet paper, I bought a new vibrator. 10 speeds, 20 vibrational patterns, which incidentally is 19 more than my husband had. Yeah. One day I'd really like him to be in the audience when I do that joke. My vibrator and I have a very healthy relationship, you know? Like, he never talks down to me. He always wants to do what I want to do. Gets along great with my mom. And my gay dad. All right. But eventually I put the vibrator on a shelf because I had sex with a Navy SEAL. It's not a joke, I just wanted you guys to know that. It was so good. I canceled my Bumble membership and I added my name to the terrorist watch list. I just feel it's my personal duty, you know, my patriotic duty to make sure as many Navy SEALs are as relaxed as possible. Now, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask who you can do for your country. Freedom years have been all about being open mind, being open to all kinds of new adventures. Adventures back to who I've always been. You know, confidence and comedy are at the core of every experience. And life just keeps getting better. But before you go and think that this is one of those shows where the sun will come out tomorrow, I am actually still a little bitter about that one. But, you know, I am now touring my own show, so optimistic personality disorder. But, you know, this was my story. But like anybody here tonight who's experienced the ups and downs of a life well lived, I have learned some lessons along the way. You guys want to hear them? Yes. The adorable years, I learned that you already are what you admire in others. And you can make a difference in someone's life far longer than you're a part of it. The performer years, I learned that laughter lightens the load you hold. So find the funny to turn a bad situation around when things go awry. The adventure years, I learned that travel is less about where you go. It's more about who you meet and who you become along the way. And sometimes it's about the journey back to who you've always been. The roller coaster years, well, I learned $10,000 buys you a set of nipples. But I also learned that scars mark the stories of our lives, and stories meant to be shared so everyone can heal. And the freedom years, I learned you don't stay stuck. You know, even though people tell you you can't change your past, I am living proof. You can change your future when you rewrite your past, especially lens of comedy. So as you are leaving the Boom Boom Room tonight, I want you to remember the lessons in your life that made you strong. Remember the laughter and the optimism that kept you going. And the next time anybody has the audacity to tell you something isn't possible, ask yourself, who chiseled that over the door? Thank you. Before I turn it back to Dana, because we're a nice, intimate audience tonight, I always like. Do we have any Carol Burnett fans in the house? Okay. I'm a huge Carol Burnett fan. My favorite part of watching her show when I was a little girl was when she would talk to the audience. And so I thought if you have any questions, could be anything from the show or how I wrote it or why the hell I did this or anything, or about the Navy SEAL. He's my favorite thing to talk about. Yes, we're still dating. It's all good. And I'm not on the terrorist watch list anymore. But if there's any questions you have, I'm an open book, and otherwise we can turn it over to Dana. Anything? Bueller. That's always the danger zone.
He has a question, I can tell. You were pondering, I saw it. Okay, his chin tilted up. It was a true ponder.
Oh, yes, please. Ask me a nipple question. Why not do it? You know what? Because at that point, I was still married to the narcissist. And I was the breadwinner of the family. So he was very anxious for me to get back to work. And there was much drama around that. But I think the seal might be buying me a set. So.
Did you get the same that you had before, or did you get like a different brand?
No, I haven't gotten the nipples yet. So now I have this sexy tattoo.
I know the tattoos though.
Yeah.
Did you get the same brand?
I don't know. You know, there weren't a lot of pictures of me originally, so that was before everybody had a camera in their pocket. You know, you'd have to like take the film to Walgreens or something. So that wasn't happening. But you know, I don't know. It's actually coming up on my 15 years of my surgery. Will be this March coming up, and apparently these implants have a shelf life. Who knew? So about 15 years. So I have an appointment on Monday actually with the plastic surgeon. So we're gonna see if we have to swap these out, upgrade a little. You know. Woo! Thank you guys. Yeah. I don't normally get people questions, but I really appreciate that one. Yes.
What's your son doing?
What is my son doing these days? My son is going to be 21. What? In 2 months. That's insane. My son is about to go on semester at sea. Do you know about this? 3 months, 500 college students, 3 continents, 12 countries. Must be insane. But what he doesn't know is that he is following in my footsteps, and he's doing things a little earlier. So we just got certified as a scuba diver at 20, which I didn't do till I was 24. I traveled around the world at also 24. He's doing it at 21. I'm like, I don't want to say anything because as soon as I say something, it's over. But he's going to be just like mom. Sometimes people want to know why did I even bother with this show? Like, would you be interested to know why I wrote this? It's interesting for me anyway. So a friend of mine had this plan. It was 50 things she wanted to do before her 50th birthday. And I thought, wow, that was a great idea. And so she was telling me about this, and I thought, I want to do that too. And so I started writing my list. And I'm thinking there's going to be a long list of things. Well, I wrote down, I want to go back to some of the countries that I had gone to as a backpacker. This time I want to go back in style. And so that was the first thing on my list. And then the second thing was, I want to do a one-woman show. And I was like, that's weird, because I didn't know I had that thought in my head. And as a keynote speaker, I'm on stages a lot, but that's because I have something to teach, right? Like I have like a lesson. And so I thought, well, maybe that was the vision I had, but it wasn't. It was very different. It was people laughing and having a good time. And so I just started writing. I took some comedy that I had done. I took some of the stuff I do in my keynotes. It kind of like was this big mashup. And then I told my dad, and originally it was going to be a stand-up set. I wanted to do 15 minutes of original stand-up for my 50th birthday. And my dad, where we were talking about it, he's like, I don't see this as a stand-up set. I see costumes and props. And I'm like, all right. Which I, now in retrospect, this is a shit ton of things to this is a bad idea. Like, a stand-up at a mic, much easier. Anyway, but that was how it came about. And I wrote the show originally in 2019. I thought it was going to be a one-time only thing. And at the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I sold tickets to my birthday. Weird. But friends and family, people came in from 7 different states. There were 160 people in the audience. And I knew, I was like, oh, this was good. I'm going to have to do this again. And then we had the pandemic. So technically, this ended before the pandemic. And so I'm toying a little bit, and you might also be a little bit confused with, so originally the show was called Book of Merit. Words there. But that was when I thought it was about me, it was my story. And those people were coming to see me. But then I realized this is more than my story, it's everybody's story. We all have ups and downs, it's relatable. Was it relatable?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. And so then I was like, it can't be called Book of Merit. That's a little narcissistic for someone who's, doing a whole bit about narcissism. So I called it Who Chiseled That? But it wasn't really, it was hard to say, and it wasn't really sticky, and it makes sense after you've seen the show, but it wasn't like grabbing people. And so then I came up with She Who Laughs Last, which was the promotion for this show. So you had the privilege of being the only audience to see She Who Laughs Last, because I already changed the name again. That's why I didn't do the new flavor. So the new name is Optimistic Personality Disorder.
Ooh, I love it.
You like that? Okay, good. I figure I wanted it to be kind of like what's that? And so hopefully it's funny, and I talk about that. I talk about optimism in my work, my keynote and training programs, and so it made sense. And so I'm glad you like that. Thank you. So new playbills will be coming, but these are collector's items. You don't know where this thing is going. I have a musical version in my head. The narcissistic tango. Can't you just see that? So many ideas. Anyway, if you have other questions, I'm happy to answer them, or we can kind of let the. Am I still friends with Steve Carell? Sadly, no. But when I was dating Steve Carell, it's hard to date an actor when you have a real job and they're working nights and you're working days. But I was in the running, so he was teaching classes at Second City in Chicago, where I was living at the time. And the woman that he married, Nancy Walls, brilliant comic talent, Saturday Night Live, she was waitressing across the street and taking classes with him, and that's how they met. So I don't want to say this, if you know Nancy, but I think he was dating 3 of us at the same time. So I was right there, and she won. Or lost, depending on how you look at it. But I have the Navy SEAL now. I have definitely won. Well, it's negotiable. I want the ring, and he wants the nipples, and we're going to compromise. Like 4-carat ring. I'm like, how about 2 carats and nipples? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. You guys know me from Adam, and you took a risk, and it was a lot. I'm going to turn it back over to Dana to wrap up our evening, and then just, I'll come back out, and we can hug and all that good stuff. So thank you.
What color is the light, Judy?
Money is green. What other things are green? Thank you, Hope. Trees are green. All right, you guys. Seems like it's a great time for a St. Louis story. First off, if you're sharing this space with Kelly Croy and her energy, you've already felt her. You've already felt her. And you, no, it's okay. We all have our own vantage points, and you were watching, what were we watching just 5 minutes ago? Merritt. Can we give another round of applause for Merritt? Queen. And, you know, in the intro there where she was first, you know, talking about her being born and a Gerber baby, which I saw a couple people fact check. You're honest, Merritt. You're honest, and we like honest people here in St. Louis. We love honest people here downtown. Are you guys honest? That's honest. Right? Michelle, are you honest? Michelle's a pure-hearted woman, and she was our first season pass holder here at the Boom Boom Room. And from the bottom of our hearts, Brandy, are you there, Brandy? Who knows Brandy? Brandy? You're punny. Sweet as honey and punny. Papa Pasty, do you know Brandy? That was a lie. Brandy Callahan is actually one of the owners of the Boom Boom Room. Yep. A lot of people don't know that when she's up here slaying, performing, giving it her all as one of our world-famous bombshells here at the Boom Boom Room. By a show of hands, and I know where are we? I'm sorry. And I have to warn you guys, I have a seizure disorder, so if anything happens at any time that might look or appear like a seizure disorder, or just something that you're really not sure why I'm acting that way, let's have what we all need to continue to have. Grace. Because not everyone in this room right now, even if you're honest, which I believe we are surrounded by a lot of honest people. What's your name, ma'am? What's your name? Oh, I care about every person in this room. Alice. Can everyone say hi, Alice? Alice, it's okay. We don't know each other, obviously, but for the people in this room that do know me, is there anyone in this room who knows who I am? There's a few. And that's because I'm a gal that once I meet you one time, even if we're 2 blocks away, you might not be able to see my eyes, but I see you, and guess what? I'm similar energy to Merritt, which is why I knew from the start there was no way we could not have a ha-ha night #1 here at the Boom Boom Room. Because when that queen, can we have another round of applause for Merritt, who just told us her life story? I mean, there are people who haven't told their own family their life story. And this queen just came in from Colorado, St. Louis for her first time, and gave us her life story. So now, just because I'm feeling a lot of energy in me, and obviously you don't have to know me that well to know that I have a lot of energy. Do we know why that is? Any guesses? People who know me? And any idea why I might have this energy? It could be anything. It could be Red Bull. Could be nerves. What do you think?
You're just happy and you enjoy life.
That is the fuck yes answer. And this queen is right. And I'm not gonna cry right now. But when I had asked where my sponges were in the room, you did not raise your hand, and you're a sponge queen. You're a sponge, but you're one of the special sponges. Who knows about special sponges? And again, remember, you guys, we are all different people coming from all different parts of life. We are. Did we make this clear, Jim? I'm not sure if we made this clear, and it's Ha-Ha night number 1, and there really hasn't been, any rules announced or anything. But the main show, the main queen, the queen who came all the way from Colorado to bear her story for us, that's concluded. So if you're ready to get out of here and not have another ha, or a ha, or a ha, 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 I don't blame you. We're in downtown St. Louis. It's very dangerous, especially if you look at the false skewed statistics that aren't apples for apples, because all the other cities, do you guys know this already? All the other cities, except St. Louis and I think Indianapolis for a little while, Hamilton area. Makes sense? Let's look at Louisville. Let's look at Austin. Let's look at the area of everyone who claims that area, whether they're there in that area or whether they're wherever on the beautiful spinning marble we are, There's a lot of people that claim St. Louis. Who do you know and how far away do they live, and are they on the Missouri side or the Illinois side, and they say they're from St. Louis? Tell on them, they're not here. They could, full transparency, and if we didn't make it clear, this is the comedic closeout, so if anyone needs to leave, it's not gonna hurt my feelings, and I will not ask your name on the way out the door, I promise. I'm gonna help send an email tomorrow with a promo code to our world famous burlesque performances happening here every single weekend, but I will not embarrass you on the way out the door. That's my word. Where's Alice? Alice, are we okay? Okay. I'm fine too. I'm fine too. And Queen, the special sponge over here, the special sponge. This is, I need some water. Can I have a little bit of this water? We have great water here at the Boom Boom Room. Papa Pasty, can I have 5 more minutes? It's a comedic closeout. There are no rules. She's a special kind of sponge, and what I mean by that is, well, like many people, all of us, she has all of her senses. What are our senses? How many do we have? Yep. Yep. It's okay. It's okay. 6. It would be presumed that all of us in here have 6 senses, but I promise you that's not the case, right? But isn't it nice to have all of our senses? Wasn't it nice to see and hear and experience in real life, 3-dimensional form, without masks, without the intercom saying, stay 6 feet apart. What year did all that happen? 2020? Yeah. 2020. 2020 was the year that after 11 years, I, Dana K. Goddard, the only real identities I've had other than the legal birth name, which if you spend any time downtown, you know that you're not necessarily getting the birth certificate name. That's obvious, right? But that's in the city, that's in the county, that's in the country, that's in the Caribbean. That's anywhere that people think that we don't already know everyone's name and anything and everything about them, right? Google search, social media, yeah? It was 2020, and I'm not ready, and I said before the show that I was going to honor myself if I wasn't ready. Can you guys respect that? Thank you. Thank you. Did you still have a hot or two after Merritt? Queen. We're gonna close out, and if you come to Ha-Ha night number 2, we'll be seeing each other again. It won't be Jim up in the spaceship. Thank you, Jim, for making it happen. As our audio video guy was out of town, and being completely honest, I helped coordinate this event, and I dropped a ball or two. But that makes sense because I'm a community builder, right? Can't coordinate everything. Thank you, Kelly. But what doesn't make sense about it is, as a community builder, which I've only identified since 2016 or 2017 when Ted said, not TED Talks, sorry, let's get specific, TEDx, okay? TEDx said, yeah, we definitely see you on our stage. I said, thank you. But they said, we're gonna need to, Jim, you're gonna appreciate this as he helps me in my artistry. We're gonna need to, fine tune the message. Yes. But you need to know, Dana, that after our committee's review, you're a community builder. And I thought, yes, I am, and it makes complete sense. So instead of just saying I'm a marketer or an entrepreneur or someone who's people-oriented and also like to be a little bit punny, the lights in the world that we are, I realized that's the reason why I started the juggling club at 11. I wanted to learn to juggle. I kept dropping balls. I fortunately didn't really know anything about the other balls in the world at that point in time. But since I was having a hard time learning how to juggle, who here knows how to juggle? Alice? Would you be open? That's okay, Alice. Because you're juggling other things in your life. What are you juggling? Is it for Ha-Ha night or for Vent night? Because we can talk about the venue rental for that too. In the intentionality of Ha-Ha night, and in the intentionality of remembering that it's all energy, it's all frequency, it's all vibration. It's either lifting you like Merritt was able to do this evening. It's either lifting. Is she about to head out? Well, I need to do. You scared me real quick. Do you guys know who this? Do you guys know who this gal is? Come on. You need to tell them what you did. She's been a brave girl. She's been a brave girl. Oh, you need to tell these people what you did. Are you guys okay?
Yes.
Is everything okay? Are we going to add a ha-ha?
Yes. What'd you do?
I gave birth to her.
Who's given birth before?
Anyway, on May 26th, I became the first female seaplane pilot in history to fly a seaplane all the way around the perimeter of mainland Australia. It took us... Oh, you've heard of me? It took... You've heard about me, Alice. Look at you. And I didn't know that Dana knew my daughter until I called to find out if they had free parking.
And what did you say? You mentioned, well, my daughter's a city gal too. She works at City Hall.
Yes. And she says, "Is your daughter named Kelly?" And I went, "Well, yes, she is." "And is her last name Croy?" And I said, "Well, yes, it is." And
I said it's going to be a great night in St. Louis.
so I have done just a tiny bit. I'm going to give you one of my little bits of stand-up comedy. I'm a single mom, and I became a single mom after 2 marriages. And I figure marriage is like making pancakes. You got to plan to throw the first couple away. And when I got divorced the first time, I took my ring down to a jeweler and I said, cut this thing in half and make it into earrings. And he said, what do you want a reminder of your failed marriage for? And I said, I want to remember every time I hear the words, I love you, to let them go in this ear and out the other. And you know, when you're a single mom, you have to do everything. You got to do the dishes. You got to do the laundry. And if the UPS man rings the doorbell, you got to do him because that package is for you. All right, that's it. I just did just a little bit. Where's Dana? Come back up here, Dana. Oh, you're going to vacuum up all this, like, dirty stuff we've been saying? Oh, yeah, all the sparkles. Hey, here you go, Dana.
Queen. Can we get a round of applause for this queen? And I want to give a round of
Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city.